Interesting fact, 90,000 people a day enter the U.S. from Mexico at San Ysidro during peak traffic through the world's busiest border crossing. And now Uncle Sam has poured nearly $250 million into expediting the flow of cars and commerce. NBC7's Wendy Fry joins us with key players in talking about that allocation. Wendy.
That's right, Gene. This federal budget allocation, our local leaders are telling us, will have a tremendous economic impact, not just on South County and San Ysidro, but San Diego region and even the country. And here to explain why, we have Congressman Scott Peters and Xavier Peniche Bustamante, the Secretary of Economic Development para la Ciudad de Tijuana.
Okay.
Bienvenidos.
Gracias.
Congressman Peters, let's start with you. $230 million funding. What's this going to bring San Ysidro and the region?
Well, it's remarkable. The quantity of job growth and economic activity from this investment is just stunning. SANDAG, which is our local planning organization, says that the delays at the border have cost us every year $7 billion in economic impact, cost us 60,000 jobs. Now that's half again as big as the whole port of San Diego. So the economic impact from this is tremendous. If we can reduce those border waits, that's jobs on both sides of the border, not just from shopping and tourism, but from trade and from manufacturing. It's a really great thing to have happen for the region and for job creation here.
And Javier, the Mexico side has had their portion of this project complete for several years now. What's it been like waiting for the U.S. to kind of get its act together?
Well, you know, we've been doing some alternate work on getting all the infrastructure, all the additional and complementary part of it. But we're very excited to have the good news, and we congratulate Scott and all the coalition that went into place to make this happen. You know, we have to see this more than two cities, one region. You know, and it's more than the economic development and the economic impact that Scott just addressed. It goes into the cultural side of it, the environmental side of it. You know, having cars, thousands of cars there waiting for hours to get across on both sides. You know, the impact it has on the environment is very great. So, you know, we have families living on both sides of the border, coming across the border. So it's huge.
And Congressman Peters, that it was a huge coalition that came together. When's the last time so many congressmen and women came together to get something done for San Ysidro? I hear you had Congressman Isis help with this.
Yeah, well, you know, it's been a long time since the San Diego delegation worked together. That's one of the reasons I ran for Congress, because I thought that was something that we could do better. And we started out the year by asking the Chamber of Commerce, what's your biggest regional priority for all of business in San Diego? They identified this infrastructure investment as the most important thing. So we started as a group asking the president to put it in his budget. We got our senators on board. Of course, we had support from the Mexican government who'd already done their part. And at the end, the whole congressional delegation came together, Republicans and Democrats, and we brought nearly $250 million to San Diego for infrastructure investments that's going to create a ton of jobs.
Javier, maybe you can help us with this. You know, there seems to be this misconception among San Diegans. The border is for Mexicans. It's for people who live in San Ysidro. Help us understand how U.S. companies, they have their employees sitting in this commute every day, the goods and supplies that go back and forth.
Well, there's studies. There's about 3,000 trucks that wait in line to get across with merchandise. There's jobs being created, as I said before, in the whole region, not only in Tijuana, but as Scott mentioned, in the San Diego area. There's international corporate companies that have part of their manufacturing facilities down in Tijuana, and more that want to come in. So that's just a big stumbling block to have them waiting there for many hours to get across their products.
And Congressman Peters, final question too. Are you aware that there's been some community concern about the expanding of the lanes and how they would have to move the Weta business and the Greyhound? How are you going to address that?
Well, any project. You know, I was on the city council for years, and even small projects, even a traffic light would create community concern. This is a $250 million project, and so it's going to have tremendous impacts. They're mostly all going to be overwhelmingly good, but we're going to have to pay attention to those implementation details as we go. And I have to say that we will. It's a good problem to have, to be able to make this investment, create these jobs, and we'll work with the local people on the border to make sure that we do it in the way that makes the most sense.
great that we have the money to argue about, right? We're happy about that. Javier, I want to ask you, we reported about when the Mexico sales tax increase went into effect in Tijuana, the 16%. How is that impacting people coming back and forth? Now people are coming to Chula Vista to buy gas, where it used to be the opposite. So,
well, that's been going on, and that's the history of that region. And that's the important part of it. It's the most important binational region in the world. So there's changes on both sides, and we adjust. And there's a very dynamic economy on both sides, and I believe that the team, the union that's been created, more and more has helped that region, and more awareness as this program has given us the opportunity to. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so happy to have some happy news to report out of South County and for the region. And Gene, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, everybody, and straight ahead on Politically Speaking.